I got this.
Gerbil.
All right. So episode 45, I think, or 46. I know. I'm sorry about the sound, guys, but I'll mute myself when I'm not asking questions. We have Kyle Davis here. He was a Section 1 champ, fourth in New York State, Division 1 wrestler. Super proud of what he's doing. I think he's going to have a big season this year if we have a season, which I'm fingers crossed hoping. Kyle, just like I start every interview, how did you get into wrestling in the first place?
So my dad was the head coach for the kids wrestling club when I was, I don't know, 4 or 5. And my brother was wrestling too. He's about like 8 or 9. And they were really big into it. Like my dad wrestled in high school and he was always really big into it, like loved it. So
was he in Beacon when he wrestled?
Yeah, he was at Beacon.
What year did he graduate?
Oh shit, I don't know. I know he's 54, so
okay, he's older than us, older than me.
Yeah. Okay. And he was a lightweight. I don't know. He was like a 119 pounder. So, but anyway.
There.
He wrestled where?
Was Tompkins his coach? Or was it Eric Romanino?
No. Yeah, Romanino was his coach. But he was assistant high school wrestling coach too in like the early 2000s with Tompkins. So I don't know. He's just always big into it. So I started wrestling and playing soccer when I was like 4 or 5.
Nice. I remember you as like a little guy. Maybe not as much. I remember you as a 7th grader when you guys were wrestling us, in duels, and you were moved up to varsity and whatnot. I vaguely remember your dad when I was in high school because he must have been the assistant at that time. I wrestled a couple of those guys. I think I wrestled Jan for 3rd or 4th at sectionals or something my sophomore year. But
yeah, he was good.
He was good. Yeah, I beat him though. But he was tough. He got one on.
Who was that, coach?
What's that, coach?
Who's the kid from Beacon that you wrestled?
First name Jan. He wasn't that. I mean, Kyle was being nice. I mean, he was not bad. He was all section.
And
he wasn't
Andrew Jan.
Tough kid. Wasn't a superstar. But so Kyle, tell us a little bit about how youth wrestling went for you. You said you started when you were like 4 or 5. Like, how did it kind of like go?
Yeah, so I honestly don't remember that much. I remember, like a lot of kid wrestlers out there, they floated around. They did it, mostly because their parents were putting them through it, because I feel like it's a tough thing. And, I think I like soccer a little bit more. I think I was just, wrestling just to wrestle. I enjoyed, obviously beating kids. That was fun. But whenever I wrestled like any decent guy, I wasn't winning.
Was there like a little built-in pressure because dad was high school coach and like he was dealing with maybe more high-level wrestling, and now you're this like little youth guy and you're trying to figure it all out? Like, was there a weird dynamic there, or was it kind of like I'll figure this out on my own?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a little weird dynamic, and especially when I was in like I think like 4th or 5th grade when I was coming up into the middle school. My brother was on varsity and he was doing really well, so I was kind of like I wanted to be good at wrestling too, but it was just more of like I just like soccer more, so I was kind of just doing it in the winter for a couple months, not really paying attention to it. And then in 7th or 6th grade, I started going to Askren, AWA, and like twice a week, whatever, because I knew I was going to wrestle varsity in 7th grade. I was like, I got to pick it up a little bit.
There's 2 things that are interesting there. One is a lot of our good guys did a little Askren, which I think is interesting. 2, I thought your brother was your age. You have 2 brothers?
No, just one. My older brother, he's 4 years older than me. So we were never like on the same team or anything because he quit wrestling when I was in 7th grade, and he was a junior.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, But I thought you guys were like the same age, and you decided to keep going, and he stopped. I didn't know there was like an age difference like that.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it's 4 or 5 years, but we were always like around the same size. So, I think when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, I was 100 pounds. And he was, I don't know, in 9th grade wrestling 99, or 96.
That's probably why I thought that, because you guys look
Yeah.
similar because you're like the same size and stuff like that. So when did you start to gain a little bit more success? Because you said you beat regular kids, but the good kids would get you, when you were young. When did it start to kind of click and start going in maybe a more positive direction in the win column? Because positivity doesn't necessarily mean win or loss, but like, when did that start to change a little bit?
I think once I started going to Aspen, in 7th grade, I think I went like 500 in varsity in 7th grade, which is like decent for everybody thought like, oh, like 7th grade, I feel like you always get that talk like, oh, he's gonna be so good when he's older, and then they got to me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be so good, and then sometimes
yeah,
pays up now.
We'll leave it like this. I could see it in the corner of my eye. It's probably easier. Unless Kyle, you want to shift and watch it.
Yeah, let's watch it.
All right, so we'll share screen. We'll talk it through, but we'll share screen and have. This is the first. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
This is the first interview match, but it's fitting because it's an ex-Empire alum talking to an Empire alum, so it makes sense. For the people that are watching, hopefully people are watching. This is Jacob Camacho, who's been interviewed, but he's wrestling Sean Russell. Kyle, was Sean Russell an All-American for Minnesota?
Yeah. I think he's a 2-time All-American.
2-time All-American.
I think like 7th or 8th.
And Jacob was probably like the 10th seed going into nationals this year, so this will be a big win for him if he can.
Nice takedown.
That would be 2 right there, I would think. Continue. Yeah. All right.
He's going up to 2 different things.
Yeah, no, that's 2.
This would be a big win for him if he could get this. Honestly, I would never say this to Jacob, but if it's competitive, it's a win for him because this guy's a 2-time All-American. This guy's a man. Jacob's a 2nd year or 3rd year in college. But the way he got that takedown, it looks like he could totally win this match.
Yeah. Yeah, Jacob is
he's a good wrestler.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, how was training? Because you're the same age, or is he a year younger than you? I think he might be.
He's a year younger than me, but you
guys were close.
Yeah, obviously we never were like. Yeah, we were pretty close. I mean, we went to a lot of like tournaments together in the off season and stuff. I think when I was a junior, that summer going into my senior year, we spent like 4 weeks together. I think we went to like a Long Island camp and then down to NC State for a couple weeks. And then back home, we were at the NC State camp at home. So we spent like 4 weeks together. I mean, I've always been pretty close to Jacob these last couple of years, definitely more.
There was like a special, I think, in that era of those like 2 or 3 years, there was a special core group of guys,
definitely.
Guys like Camacho. Then you had the younger group that was coming up, like the AJs and the RJs. But then you got Grippy and that's a 4 probably, no?
No, it's 2.
You went to his knees? Okay. The game 4. It's feed the bag.
It's 4.
It's like Jacob might have hit his knees. I don't know.
Oh, he
went
right over.
That's not good. But, I feel like success kind of breeds success a little bit, and those guys were all bought in, Kyle and these guys, and I think it made for a really good group of guys. I mean, Empire's been successful for a while, but I would say Kyle's senior year, the next year after that, we were highly successful, and I think it was like-minded people. And here's Jacob here on a nice shot. That was a great shot. You got that.
Score.
Give him 4. Continuation.
4.
Oh!
Yes.
What do you give him? 4?
Oh. Nice. You know what, Kyle? Jacob will get the guy if I tell him that we were live interviewing during his match. I think
it's pretty cool.
It is cool.
I don't know if I'm on delay or something.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. If I'm giving you the I might be giving you cheat notes. I'm sorry.
I'm still on the side screen here. I'm on my computer, so I'm still watching it. Like, on my
The break, right? Did it go to the break for you?
computer, so I'm getting a good stream over here. Yeah, just went to the break.
You know, this is big for Camacho.
It's a nice 4.
Oh, this is smart wrestling.
Oh,
He already knew he was getting the point. He knew continuation. You gotta go for it there. You're getting the point at least. You might as well go.
This guy looks a little winded, if you ask me.
He does.
he's big. He's big for the weight.
Listen, I'll tell you what, and being this is Kyle's interview, wrestling, Kyle, like his senior year and stuff, Kyle was a scrambler. Kyle, Grand Cuomo, guys with that style would get me very tired. Scrap. You know, they had ways to defend. But Jacob, as like a 126-pounder, 32, whatever he was, obviously I didn't put my weight on him, but just hand fighting with him would get me tired because he always moves. Like, if you watch him here even, he doesn't stop. Like, hand fighting is attacking, smart wrestling, even trying to get that guy to the edge. You better watch that. This is where the guy got the dresser dump on him, though. He's got to be careful here.
No, he's fine. He ain't exposed.
But that's grown man right there. I feel like Jacob, if Jacob had a little bit more raw strength, that doesn't happen. I think
the weight class thing, if it's at 57 kilos, it's a little different.
Legs right now. He's all over his legs. Oh, he's got to turn this into a lace.
Yeah, he got it.
Come on, Jacob. He looks good, man. They should have started him for the first match. He looks great.
I don't know why they didn't.
I guess, I was thinking about it. I know Darian got teched by Gilman the other day or a week or two ago, but he did score 2 takedowns on him. So they're probably thinking he has a puncher's chance where Jacob might have been a little overwhelmed by Gross. But the way Jacob's wrestling right now, he's all over this guy's legs like it's nothing.
And I feel like Camacho's a pretty clean finisher. And Gross just stands up.
True. I think it would have been a good matchup, but hey.
Well, he's winning 8-6.
If Jacob wins this, they might start him the next couple of matches, I hope.
No, they definitely should.
Oh. Man, these 125-pounders are really
they wrestle.
They wrestle, yeah. Holy cow. These guys there's no breaks. They're looking for stuff constantly.
Yeah, I like the heavyweights.
Did you see that last match, Coach? Me and Kyle were just talking about it. Gwiz is the world rep for the last couple of years. He was down 8-0, 2 points away from getting teched, and then he teched the kid 18-8.
Holy crowley! He's a New York kid, Gwiz.
Yeah, Gwiz is great.
Yeah, New York
guy.
Yeah.
I heard he's KD trained. I don't know if it's true, but I heard he might be KD trained.
KD trained.
Gwiz, let's win.
I'm KD. I didn't get my.
You're KD trained in the buffet, brother. Is that rude?
Is KD still on the Horace Greeley coaching staff?
As of now, we'll see how he handles himself.
See if
short offense. Come on.
Oh,
gotta score. Separate it. Got it.
Huge. Get it. You gotta finish.
He's got it. He's gonna score here.
Pull him in. 2.
That's what I'm talking about. Once you get on his legs, I watched a couple matches of Camacho this year, and he's just so good when he gets on the legs.
He should go in for that same attack so he stays on the leg. Finishes on the leg.
10 seconds.
This match, I want to see Kevin's. We'll keep it playing in the background. Like
it's fine.
I'll unshare my.
Oh, he just put him back.
Oh,
no, he's fine. Pin him.
That's huge. No, great job, Jacob.
Stop.
So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, so we'll kind of glare on Kevin's. But Kyle, you tell me when Gwiz and Gable comes on, and we might have to share our screen again because that's
it's fine. It's fine. It's in my background. So.
All right, so you let me know when that one comes up, and let me know if Kevin wins. But
okay.
So we'll get back to the interview, but that was great with Jacob. So Kyle, we were talking a little bit about your adjustment to high school wrestling. You said after you went to Max, it started to get a little bit. I don't want to say easier, but the wins started coming a little bit more. The success started coming more. Why do you think that was? And I don't mean why because of Max's style. Like, do you think it was more of the reps on the mat, or do you think it was more maybe confidence? Like, what do you think it was that kind of started to make you go up a little bit?
I think, in 7th grade, I went, I think like 500, but I definitely got so much better from 6th grade to 7th grade. Obviously I was a completely different wrestler, and obviously Max Max's style helped a lot because, I adapted to, a lot of like scrambling. So I was decent at scrambling, and not a lot of high school kids know how to scramble.
Yeah.
So I was winning a lot of matches because, whether I was going far ankle, I had pretty good defense. But when I wrestled like athletes, I remember Jay Albus ran through me. Like, I think he teched me, and that was his first year wrestling.
Oh.
I was like, Jesus, like, I don't know how I'm ever going to beat that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I struggled with the athletes definitely when I was in 7th grade. And then when I got to 8th grade, I, got a little better. I think the maturity thing, definitely.
Jay,
What'd you say?
It's funny that you bring up Jay, because Jay texted Tyler yesterday. He goes, Anthony interviewed all the alums, but he hasn't interviewed me yet. So Jay, you're on the list, brother. Patience is a virtue, they said. You'll get yours because you're a superstar, but we're getting through it. But wow, that's very interesting that you even wrestled Jay, because he's so much smaller than you now, and like the trajectory, like you said, maturity is important. People change. But I remember you as a 7th grader. You never came to Empire at that age, because you probably don't remember this, but because I knew you when we wrestled Coach DeBellis. This is a flashback. This is like one of my first years coaching, first or second year coaching. We were at the Rye Duel.
Grella was on your team, right?
What's that, Coach?
Grella. I remember Grella's.
Yeah. He was the 82 or 95. Yeah, no, 82. My 7th grade year.
But but like I remember we went to the Rye Duels, and Coach DeBellis, you and I just kind of started getting together there. It might have been my second or so year coaching, and we started finally going on the upward trajectory, and we made the finals of the Rye Duels, and that was like a big deal for us at the time. And I think we beat Beacon to get there. And I remember Kyle being on the team and watching him and being like, this is a young guy, but he's tough, he has experience. And I knew who you were. I don't know if I knew who you were because of your dad or because maybe you popped into John's a couple of times, but I knew you.
Yeah.
What grade did you start?
What was this?
So I think, I wrestled 99 in 7th grade, but I remember I think that was 8th grade, because Grella was on my team when I was in 8th grade. So I remember wrestling, oh my God, who was that on your team? The 13 pounder.
Bing Bing?
Andre?
No.
Andre Nesbitt?
No, because I beat him up. So
Was it Kirby? Could have been Kirby.
I don't know, but I remember in 8th grade, I was at the Rye Duels. I weighed in for 106 because the coaches just told me to weigh in at 106, and I bumped up to 13 a lot of the tournament, and I wrestled. Oh, no. Maybe I wrestled 6. I think I wrestled 106, but I wrestled somebody on Horace Greeley, and I think I had like 4 forfeits that day, and that was my only match as the Horace Greeley kid.
Did you beat him up? I don't remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember who.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I knew you were pretty good, so I probably made sure that you wrestled somebody that wasn't good, so we could get a win at 13. If I remember correctly, I knew you. I don't know why I did. Maybe because you're 7th grade year, and I just remember watching you wrestle. I don't know, but I remember definitely knowing who you were. When did you make the transition from Max's to Empire?
I think it was that 8th grade. It was that 8th grade year. Because I think Askren was leaving, and obviously it was the decision to either go somewhere else or go to John's. So we just decided to do Iowa style, and I think it was my 8th grade year, and that's when I probably first started coming over to your guys' side and stuff. So you probably saw me a bit more. And that was when you were like first started like really coaching, I feel like.
Yeah,
right?
I think for me even it would be almost clarifying, because it's so hard to remember. Like when you were just talking about DeBellis, you were just talking about Grella. Like I felt like him and Kyle were almost the same age, but they really weren't. Like So it's like
He's 5 years older.
Combined together when you've been coaching for a while, you forget what year was what year. And, I knew Kyle wrestled Evan Frank his junior year. His senior year was the champ. He beat Johnny Santos. I remember these things, but I can't remember like before that, like who was close to who and what age group and whatever. So when you first came, Kyle, I don't remember what I was doing. I'm sure I was coaching more, but I can't remember it. Like, I don't know who was seniors when you were an 8th grader. I'm trying to remember, like, who was like the core group.
Oh shit. I remember Andrew being 11th grade. Oh, Brett Perry was a senior then.
So I was focusing a lot with Brett at that time. I know that John was still John's still in charge, but John was probably still running day-to-day practice at that time. I think a couple years
he was.
I kind of started running more day-to-day practice.
Yeah.
I was more a workout partner a lot of the time. I was wrestling with Brett a lot.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember going to Brett, like the John Jay practices before sectionals, and Brett would wrestle Andrew Grella because Brett was, obviously like the senior and he was pretty good.
Who would win?
Oh shit, that's a good question. I really don't remember. I don't know if Andrew was bigger or who was heavier.
He was one weight higher.
Yeah, I think Brett would win at the time.
Brett's tough, man.
But Andrew was an athlete, though. I mean, he was.
Athlete. Brett was a dog. Like Brett was tough.
Yeah. Brett's so good.
Brett was more like he'll go in the trenches and was slick and flexible, and Grella was a freak athlete.
Freak.
What's interesting about Kyle, Coach, is Kyle's a good athlete now as a college wrestler and stuff, and he's kind of figured it out. But you had to make almost your own style to be successful. You had to find a way that, all right, this is going to work for me. Whether it be scrambling or, scrambling to me is kind of toughness because it's like I'm going to figure out a way to get my scores even when I'm not in great position, right? Or typical great position. Was it Max that kind of turned you on to the scrambling techniques, or was it more you figuring out like, okay, I'm getting a little beat to the punch here because maybe I'm not as quick off the trigger and I need to find something that's going to slow this guy down, or was it more of a style that you learned?
That's a really good question. I think, Max, obviously, he showed me, he was really good at scrambling, and that's all we did. We scrambled all the time. And I really liked it because, it's just fun. Scrambling's fun.
Yeah.
And I think first going to John's too, we scramble a decent amount. I mean, we warm up in far ankle and, Sanderson rolls, and it's so important because it's just a position you get into so often.
Yeah.
And not enough schools do it, or even clubs. I think probably on my high school team, I was the only one that knew any far ankle or Sanderson. I'm like, what the, why? I don't get it.
Crazy. Think about it.
Did you guys have a lot of kids come out for your team at Beacon or no?
So when I was younger, we had a decent amount, but when I was older, when I was older, I mean, what'd you say?
I said when your father ran the youth, you guys had a lot of kids.
Yeah, a lot of kids.
Great tournaments. He did a great job.
Yeah, and then when I was in high school, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, we had a decent amount of kids on our team. Just a lot of kids were, just on the team to be on the team. But then when I was older, like a junior and senior, it was like just going down,
Yeah, now it's really low, and that's not knock at the staff there. But I think last year they had like 6 or 7 kids on the team. It wasn't.
That's crazy. But
I mean,
they have that really good kid, the lightweight.
Chris, he transferred actually to Wyoming Seminary. Yeah, he's very good. He's an athlete too. I mean,
he did a great job up at States last year too.
That's tough. He's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Kyle, a kid that looked up to Kyle. Kyle set the. Especially because he was an Empire guy also, and Kyle being an Empire. But Kyle, tell me this: do you find it interesting, like you said, like a lot of high schools and a lot of clubs aren't doing like far ankle and Sandersons and stuff. And to be clear, for me, when I graduated college in 2010, which really on the grand scheme of things isn't that long, but it is a decade, right? It's 10 years ago. I wasn't great at that stuff either. But you have to kind of adapt with the times. And I feel like a lot of people, maybe they push back at adapting sometimes. When I feel like when you come back, Kyle, I think I forgot what we were talking about, but you were showing me something. You were showing me like a single leg defense or whatever it is. Like guys that are in the fire, you're in the fire right now. You're in there, right? And if you feel something and you see something and you learn something that's different, I'm going to listen with my ears wide open because it's going to help the kids coming up, because that's what's happening now and that's what's working now, right? Like even though it was 10 years ago, college wrestling looks different than it did when I was in college, right?
Completely different.
Think about maybe the evolution of the sport. I feel like it's changing every.
Changes constantly. I mean, I don't even know. I think my styles changed so much, and I think high school. Obviously high school is so different than college. Styles and stuff. I think now people are really adapting to re-scrambling and stuff, because I don't know, 10 years ago scrambling was like it was really I don't know, I felt like a lot of people didn't really know how to re-scramble and stuff, and now a lot more people, at least in college, know how to. So it's
I think that's why
people just adapt.
You think that's why maybe a guy like Askren was so successful, because they didn't know. I mean, if you even go back to my tapes, and I wasn't ultra successful, but there was scrambles there, but we didn't know we were scrambling, if that makes sense. Like we were just kind of fighting not to give up a take.
Just wrestling, yeah.
Scrambles ended up happening. But if you look at a guy like Max or Ben, it was intentional, right? Where they were putting people in these positions. And now when you watch Kyle wrestle, even me watching him wrestle at practice a couple weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever, he's so comfortable in those positions. He feels good in those positions, where 10 years ago it wasn't like that. So as Kyle said, the sport is adapting, but let's jump back right into your high school real quick. So 7th grade, you were about 500. 8th grade, you had a good year. I know your 11th and 12th grade really good. What was 9th and 10th grade like, your 2 first years in high school? Like, how did those go? I can't really remember, and I'm being fully honest when I say that.
Yeah. So I went to Kennedy. I don't know if you remember.
I remember that. I do remember that.
So 9th and 10th grade year were tough for me, definitely. 9th grade, I had a decent year. I placed like 4th at Catholic States, which was, in 8th grade, I ain't all section or anything. So that's obviously, improvement. Yeah. And then 10th grade, I barely went 500. But to be fair, I went up like 5 weight classes. So I was 113 in 9th grade. I was cutting decent weight, but I remember like 2 weeks after our season in 9th grade, I was like 145. So I literally gained like 30 pounds in 3 weeks. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I was really blown up. It was just, I don't know, just growth spurt in a short amount of time. I think
that's
a lot of weight. I wrestled 99 in 8th grade too. So you think about it, in 2 years, I went from 99 to 152. So obviously, a lot of that weight isn't like really like great weight. It's not like I was putting on like 50 pounds of muscle. Yeah. So it was going to take some time for me to adjust to that, weight. I remember 10th grade, I was getting beat up, man. I remember wrestling Adam, actually. And John, before the match, he was like, he literally told me I have no chance of winning. I was like, all right, thanks.
I vaguely remember you wrestling Adam a little bit.
Yeah, he beat me up. He was good at the time.
Yeah, he was wrestling. But then, so that was 9th and 10th grade. Now when we get to 11th grade, you went back to Beacon in 11th grade, correct?
Yeah, it was the best decision I made probably ever.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I would have kept wrestling if I stayed at Kennedy. There's no way.
What do you think? Just the relationship with John, and I'm not saying negative about John because you still went to Empire, but was it like too much, like right on top of you, or was it like being at that school and you didn't have your friends? Like, what was the
Yeah, I think at the time it was just so many different things. I was I mean, I at that age, I feel like you just don't really know what you want yet, too.
Yeah.
I was kind of to be, I'm not trying to. I was kind of a dick, in 10th grade. I was, wasn't doing a lot of the stuff I should be doing, like staying on top of my schoolwork, and like obviously working hard, like in the wrestling room, because I didn't really care about it. At the time, I liked soccer a lot. I liked video games. Like I wasn't like, crazy big into it at the time, probably because I wasn't doing well either. I was just like, oh, this sucks. Why do I even do this sport? And then, 11th grade, I think going back to Beacon was like a complete like restart of my high school career. That's what it felt like. I played soccer again. I didn't play soccer in 9th and 10th grade. And I was like, damn, like I miss it. I need to play soccer. And all my friends were on the soccer team. So I played soccer my junior year. And obviously, I was still wrestling. I was still, training at John's, but, like 2-3 times a week. And then I think, that junior year I did decent, and I started to like it more. And at the end of the year, I had a really bad sectional tournament. I felt like I was going to do pretty well, and I ended up placing 5th.
Your junior year, you took fifth? I thought you were in the finals with Evan Frank.
No. That was Alex. Alex beat Evan Frank when we were juniors. Nunzio beat him.
Nunzio, yeah. Crowley. Nunzio Crowley.
Yeah, so
finalist, one-time champ, if I right.
No, just I went from 5th to
the first.
Yeah. So junior year, I mean, I wasn't, I didn't really do that well. I was doing decent. I didn't make weight at Eastern States my second day.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't,
I think you grew up. If I remember correctly, like you made a big jump your senior year, mentality-wise and wrestling-wise. If I remember that correctly, because I remember your senior year, you were one of the guys that I kind of depended on in the club. You were doing the right stuff, so it was like, all right, Kyle's the guy. All right, Kyle, go, help with this guy, do this, do that. But like your junior year, I think mentally, is that accurate? Like you guys, you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think my junior year, it was still like a big jump coming from 10th grade to 11th grade, because I was awful in 10th grade and I hated it. And finally junior year, I felt like, okay, I actually like it again. I love winning. I love winning in wrestling. It was, I felt like just going back to Beacon was a real, turnaround for me, definitely.
Were you lifting? Remember we did that weird little off-season lifting thing? You jumped in that, didn't you?
Yes.
Who was in that?
Yeah, I did.
It was you,
Grant, Grippy,
probably Adam,
Alex, Malikian. Yeah, that was fun.
It's so weird. You name all those guys, every single one of them are Division I wrestlers, so that's pretty cool. So I guess we had
doing that extra thing.
The right thing going on. But Coach LaBellis, you want to hear a funny story about Kyle's dad, kind of, but Kyle was involved obviously as well. I think it was Kyle's junior year. We were at Pop and Flow, and hey Lily, hey Chump. So we're at Pop and Flow, and John has a little bit of a moment.
Yeah.
And he gets booted out of the tournament. So at the time,
was this the time he smashed the ice rink?
Yes. So at the time,
or was it the time he ripped the?
Who knows what he's doing? But I was coaching the B team. He was coaching the A team, and I was helping out with the the A team for that dual meet. Like I was going back and forth. But when the B was on the mat, I was on the mat with them. Long story short, John has a bad time. He's booted out, and I gotta get the B team ready to go. So I'm like, all right, B team, we're out there ready to go. But lo and behold, John's not allowed to come back tomorrow. So first round the next day, A and B are wrestling at the same time. What am I supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean? So Kyle's dad ended up coming down and helping me coach the guys. So it's weird because it is a family sport, Like I know Kyle's dad obviously had a wrestling background, but being that he had that background, Kyle was there. He was a perfect guy to grab. Kyle, maybe tell us a little bit about that day, or in general, any of the Empire trips that stood out to you that you had a lot of fun on, and memories that you're making with the club.
I think after my junior year, I was like, all right, I like wrestling. I want to be good at it. I had no idea what I wanted to do in college yet. I was pretty good at soccer. I was pretty good at wrestling, but, obviously I was fifth in the section in wrestling. So I was like, am I going to be like a pretty good wrestler? Probably not. So I was kind of in between, like didn't really know, but I was still wrestling in the off-season tournaments and definitely Pop and Flow. My junior year, that was a lot of fun because that was kind of when I felt like I first started like actually building like pretty good relationships with other guys in the club. Because at the time I was kind of like, I felt like nobody, everybody thought I was just like not that good. Because in 10th grade, they would always like come at me, just joking, like, what'd you do like this year, because I did terrible my 10th grade year. Yeah. And I think, I wrestled Evan Frank for the Pop and Flow A team.
I know, I remember.
And I lost to him by like a point. It was really close. Like, I think it was OT and he beat me. And he was like, the thing then because he placed third in the state or fourth in the state. I don't know. But he was really good. I mean, he's really good, yeah. So people started like, oh, okay, like Kyle's pretty good, I guess, So I think going to those tournaments, I went to Pop and Flow my junior year, and that's when I started definitely liking it way more too. I wrestled 220 actually on the B team at Pop and Flow. I was like 180. Yeah, so I was giving up a lot of weight, but.
Was I just throwing you to the wolves? Was I just a jerk? I don't remember.
No, I don't. No, it was never. I was still just like. I feel like I was still coming into my body a little bit. I don't know. I was like, I don't know who was 182. Oh, Alex was 182
on the B.
Yes, and
what's Bob on?
Because he lost to Clifton.
Oh,
in the wrestle-off.
Yeah, there's some good guys. Yeah.
And I was wrestling 90. Like you put me at 95 because I was better than like John. I think Johnny was on the B team too.
So these guys are all state guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and at a couple of the dual meets, you had to change me and Johnny because I was just better than Johnny. At that weight at the time.
Yeah.
You were putting me at 220 for a couple of dual meets because you're like, we need a win here, and this guy's really big.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
I don't really remember how good I did there, but
you had fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, look at
I
this,
had fun.
Coach Sabellis, and this is for you.
That's all that matters.
Think about this. Kyle's senior year, he comes into himself. We'll talk about that in a second. But coming up, and I think it's still kind of a thing that Kyle kind of goes through now, where he's really good, but he hasn't got the respect he deserves yet because he hasn't had the opportunity maybe to show exactly what he could do. I think it's a little different now because everybody in our area knows he's good, right? But it's like now he wants to make that splash on the next scene. But when you're looking at his junior year going into his senior year, look at all these guys that were around the same weight, right? You had Kyle, you had Clifton Wayne, you had Alex Malik, you had Johnny Santos, who wasn't there yet, but he was going to be pretty good. You had Anthony Falbo, who was a top 10 guy in the country.
So tough.
You had guy Jacob, who wasn't there yet either, but trying to catch up. Johnny and Jacob were trying to catch up to these guys, right? So they're in here, right? Who else was in there?
Alex Malikian, Evan Frank.
Like 7 or 8.
There's so many good guys.
Yeah, and every once in a while you get an Adam and a Grant who are like 52-60 who could kind of jump up and wrestle with these guys.
Yeah.
So we had like around my size, really. We had a group of guys that were ready to go. And my curious question for you, Kyle, do you remember like your junior year going into your senior year, who was like your go-to workout partner? Like who was the guy that you would train with the most?
Honestly, so my junior year, that was when, I was getting better. I got better pretty fast. I think I started just figuring out, defensively more, how to adjust to, Clifton's obviously really good. Falbo is really good. You know, they're going to get to my legs because they're quicker than me. They're more athletic than me. So I got to figure out how to defend. And, you know, I feel like I figured out how to scramble, you know, and defend way better at that weight finally.
Yeah.
So I think I felt like I went with Falbo a lot, and he beat me up. But there's some days I would like, you know, it was hard for him to take me down. I was like, you know, maybe I'm getting pretty good. You know, I think it was so quick because at the end of my junior year, you know, I went 5th in the section. Obviously, it's not that good compared to these other guys. And then, you know, I'm giving Falbo like all, you know, it's not like I'm like beating him up, but like, you know, it was hard for him to take me down. And, you know, I was going at it with Clifton and, you know, Alex even, and Evan. You know, I lost to Evan in that match. So I felt like I figured it out a little bit, and I was like, okay, you know, maybe I could have a good year next year. That's when I started, I feel like, you know, having more confidence, because my junior year, like in the beginning of it, I would just get beat up all the time. You know, those guys are just, you know, they're just so good. There's so many high level guys in the room that I was like, you know, how am I ever going to beat these guys? They're too quick. They get to my legs too often. But yeah, I think it was just a quick turnaround, but yeah.
So here's your senior year now, and I know, you know, I'll let you explain it, but section champ, I believe 4th in the state, very close to 3rd in semis, or all these things. You were in the mix for a state championship. That year, was it still kind of Falbo? Like, who is your go-to guy? Because I'll say right now that I know for a fact, I know you wrestled Johnny, I believe, in the section finals, but you made guys like Johnny and Jacob and those younger guys, only a year younger, but you made them better. You were setting a good example. How is that like, you know, junior year to senior year, you're having success now. You're doing well at big tournaments. You're helping some good guys in the club get better. You're competing with these good guys in the club. Like, you know, speak on that a little bit, your senior year experience maybe.
I think, you know, I mean, Jordan Wallace too was there, and he was, you know, I wrestled with him a lot, and he was good. And
he was really good.
What'd you say?
We had a good crew. I forgot about Jordan. There's a lot of good guys.
Yeah. He got big quick though, so he wasn't around really my junior year. I think he was going to another club. He might have been going to GPS. Yeah, and then senior year he came to the club, and I was wrestling with Jacob, Johnny, and they were all, you know, Johnny was getting better, Jacob was getting a lot better. Jacob had that quick turnaround too. You know, he went from, you know, 5th or 6th in the section at 160 to, you know, I mean, what did he do his junior year?
2nd to Wallace.
Yeah.
Wallace in the finals.
Yeah. So he had that quick turnaround too. You know, I think at, you know, at Empire, it's just with so many different styles, and, you know, I think we were fortunate too. You know, you think about all these guys got so much better, you know, so quick, like me, Jacob, Johnny. We got, you know, because we were wrestling so many good guys, you know, and even Jordan got so good, you know. I think just wrestling different styles, like me to Johnny to Jacob, you know.
That might have been the best the club has been in my tenure at that weight area. Like, it was just stacked. Like, everybody was really good. You know, but what's interesting, what you said in there, Kyle, is too, and I think sometimes not that Empire gets the respect I feel like it should get. Everybody knows it's a good club, but like you said, everybody's different styles, right? So how could so many kids go to the same club, but a lot of kids have totally different styles? And I think that's something to say about the culture at the club, where it's not, you know, a lot of people think they try to put Empire in a box. Well, they used to, at least, with Iowa style, and say, hey, Iowa style, these guys are going to have heavy hands, they're going to come forward. But they're not going to be that technical. You know, now you look at Empire, and I don't think it's like that anymore, because Kyle Davis wrestles a lot different than Jacob Ferreira, and Jacob Ferreira wrestles a lot different than Clifton Wang, and Clifton Wang wrestled a lot different than Matt Grippy, and Adam Santoro wrestled a lot different than Grant Cuomo, around the same sizes, right? So I think that's a pretty interesting caveat about the club, where it's not one size fits all. You know, we're different. You know, I think we treat it appropriately, if I would say so myself.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's when I feel like that's when I really started liking wrestling a lot. You know, I mean, I was wrestling, I think over the summer, my junior year, I spent a couple weeks, I was talking before, with Camacho and like Adam and stuff at these camps, you know, and I was wrestling a lot of different kids, and then coming back, you know, Johnny was getting better, Jacob was getting better. You know, I think it was finally, you know, and I was wrestling, you know, good too. And obviously when you're, you know, when you feel like you're better at wrestling, you're going to be a little happier and you're going to like it more.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, just getting different, you know, I was wrestling Clifton too, and Clifton's, you know, different style, obviously. So I think that definitely, you know, improved my liking for the sport, I guess.
You know what's so funny, not to get off topic a little bit, but John's texting me right now, and he said, just so I could keep my notes, this is a safe way to put my notes. So he's watching the RTC Cup, and he's taking notes, but he's texting me notes as he's watching it because he doesn't know where else to put it. So
He doesn't know where.
Yeah, so as much as everybody wants to give John a hard time too, you know, this guy does love it. You know, he's into it, watching it. He's piecing it apart. So Kyle, you know, we'll jump into college, but I want to wrap up your high school a little bit real quick and say that, you know, you do get your section title. You beat Johnny in the finals. You go take fourth in the state. Did that kind of feel like maybe a little bit of a weight off your shoulders? Like, you know, you've been working so hard at this since a seventh grader, well, maybe before, but you were at the varsity level from a seventh grader on, and maybe you felt like you weren't reaching your, you know, where you should be, right? It wasn't happening exactly the way you pictured it to happen. And I know fourth wasn't your goal at states your senior year, but did it feel kind of like, okay, you know, I'm doing something right. Here I am. I got there. I'm with these guys now. Was there a little bit of satisfaction maybe with that performance?
Is he frozen?
I don't know. I think he's frozen. Kyle.
I'll answer it for him. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I felt like I you know, took fourth and I was all state. It was just a great. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, man.
I was answering.
Yeah.
I hear you. So was there some satisfaction with that, Kyle? Like it was like, okay, I'm kind of here now.
Yeah, I think let me think what I was gonna say. I was like talking and then I got cut off. I think, you know, obviously winning a section title, it felt like I finally, you know, definitely weighed off my shoulders. I think, you know, placing fourth in the state, I mean, I was definitely upset because I thought I could win. I weighed in at like 182 at states and I was wrestling 195. So I was really light for the weight class, but I went 195 because I thought, you know, it was just a better shot for me to win because Louis Dupre was there.
Yeah.
And me and Evan kind of decided that we would go different weights. There was, you know, I wanted to win a section title, obviously. So I was fine with going 95.
Didn't Evan bump up or something to wrestle and you beat him?
Yes. Yeah. That was a funny story. So I remember going to John Jay Cross River and obviously, you know, thinking, okay, this is going to be like a 20-minute duel. And actually, I was going up to Buffalo that night to visit after the match.
Right.
And yeah, I was, you know, I just thought I was going to pin some kid in like 20 seconds, you know, not being mean to anybody there, but it's just, you know, just the way it is. And then, you know, we get there, we weigh in and Evan's like talking, you know, we're just chatting, like, you know, we're friends and stuff. And then we start at like 170 and I didn't even stretch. I didn't even run around the mat because, you know, I'm thinking I'm pinning some kid in 20 seconds. Yeah. So I'm cold. My feet and legs are cold. And then they, at 182, they throw out, you know, some kid. I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, I was like, I knew Evan was getting bumped up. Like what they, I don't know if you know, like at John Jay Cross River, they have the lights and stuff and they, whatever. And I was just sitting on the bench, just, you know, lacing up my shoes, just getting ready. And I look up at 182, they announced a different name. I was like, fuck, like, well, they're going to put Evan Frank out against me. And I was not warm at all. My kid got pinned in like 10 seconds. So I walked out on the mat. I was like, shit, like,
That's awesome.
excuse my language, but it was definitely
I find that interesting that they even did that though, because I know Evan deep down probably was like, okay, Kyle's tough.
didn't want to.
I didn't want to do it. That's a Johnny Shortfinger made that move, but that's okay because I make the same moves. I like that.
No, it was cool. Yeah, I mean, who cares? Who cares in the end? Who cares who wins?
But it
Because
had to feel good for you. I mean, who cares really? Because you guys are going different weights at sectionals, but it's another thing off your shoulders where people are like, oh no, Evan's here, Kyle's here. And it's like, okay, wait a minute.
yeah,
Kyle's legit. Like,
yeah,
that kind of put you on the scene a little. After the fact, you're probably like, okay, that was good that they bumped him up.
yeah, and
that ride up to Buffalo must have went quick.
Yeah.
it was. I mean, winning that was just, in what was it, December in Mid Hudson's. I was doing well this season anyway. I placed 5th at Easterns. I should have won.
Yeah.
I lost on blood time. Like, I gave up blood time. I had this kid taken down like 4 times. The kid who won, and he beat the kid I beat the week before at Mid Hudson's, Tanner Zagarino. I don't know if you remember that name. He's from Antioch.
Oh no, okay.
He won the states at D2 for 220,
Okay.
and I like beat him like 9-3 at Mid Hudson's. So that was like my first, because he was the state champ from the year before. So that was, my first like good win. And then, beating Evan was definitely like, okay, I might, I feel like I have a good shot at winning states this year. And then, I don't know if you remember states, but I was beating the kid that won with 5 seconds left, and I got reversed in the quarterfinals.
I do kind of remember that. I do.
Yeah, so I was
How did you say that?
Kendall Elfstrom.
Yes, Monroe Woodbury.
Yes. He was beating me the whole match, and then I got up with 30 seconds left and like doubled him, and I've never doubled anybody before. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm on top like with a leg in with 10 seconds left. And I feel like, I'm sliding a little bit, and he's getting my leg, and, he reverses me with like 3 seconds left. And I'm like, well, that sucks, But to be fair, I battled back. I beat a kid that I lost to at Eastern States, which was nice, and I beat him up pretty good.
I remember seeing your dad and you at like the beer hall before your 3rd, 4th match or something. You guys went to get something to eat, and I think I was with DeBellis, and we were talking about it a little bit, or it might have been right after your 3rd, 4th match.
Yeah. It was right after. I remember that. It was right after the 3rd and 4th place match, because the 3rd and 4th place match, I wrestled a kid that I was teammates with at Buffalo, and he won like he's doing well now. He's doing pretty well now. He won the U.S. Open last year for at 97 kilo or 92 kilo. Okay. Sam Schuyler, but he was.
I know that kid, yeah.
He was. I mean, we had a pretty good weight. I feel like people didn't realize. Kendall Elfstrom was pretty tough too, and then me and Sam, obviously turned out to be way better now. But I mean, Sam was tough too. We had like 4 or 5 D1 kids at 195 in the state, so it's still a tough weight.
Well, it was definitely a tough weight. I mean, the state I think has diluted a bit in the last couple of years in those upper weight classes, but when you were there, it was really good. But listen, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about your couch because there's some interesting things here. But let's share the screen here and get the second period of Gable Stevenson and Nick Wazowski. I would love some this commentary here through this. So you guys see it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Second? Okay, first.
It's almost a second. It's 2-0 Gable here.
Gable is a college kid, right?
Yeah, but he's a freak. He's really good. He made Final X in 2019 against Gwiz, and Gwiz won both matches on criteria. So It was really close. But I don't know. Gable didn't wrestle the first match. He sat the first match out against Mason, which I think is kind of soft because – oh, get him. Come on, Gwiz. Because Gwiz just wrestled a war, and now he's out here again. But that's what winners do, I guess. And he should have had that takedown right there. You know,
What happened? Why they,
Kyle, have you had a much relationship with Gwiz when he comes for the NC State? I've seen him a couple times. I don't normally go to camp, but when I see him, he's been very like a nice kid, nice guy, down to earth. Have you had any interactions with him, Kyle?
Not too much, honestly. I feel like I did with Mock, but never with Gwiz, really. I mean, I've obviously seen him before, and I've seen him around.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I only went to the NC State camp once.
Okay.
So I just didn't see him that much, you know.
They say Mock's the nicest guy ever. I've talked to him a couple times. And he seems great, but like,
He's such a nice guy.
All these guys say like he's willing to help anybody. He's just a good dude.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He talked to our team over the summer, like on a Zoom call.
There's that connection, yeah, with Beasley, right? Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Boys, get it. Shuffle.
He scored. I'm in front of you.
oh no! He just threw him into the nickel seats.
They're not. He's gonna get one only on this.
What? Yeah, well,
Yeah, buddy, get him.
Penalized throwing him into the nickel seats.
No, because there's continuations.
I'll give you a continuation. Those guys are monsters. They should not be throwing.
Oh.
And I got this man in the gut, and I'm on the edge, and they don't blow the whistle. I'm throwing you into the chairs.
Score here. I'm in front of you.
No, nothing. Come on, Gwiz.
I'm in front of you.
Oh, you're in front of me? Shit. How do I fast forward?
Yeah. Maybe try to click the.
Something bad happened?
Click like the bar on it and just go right.
Let me see. Nothing. Shit. Well, don't blow for me, Kyle.
Yeah, I won't.
Come on, Gwiz.
I'll win.
I hope so. Yeah, I feel like this is some veteran action.
Oh.
Here. Get that. I know why you said now, because he gets that crotch. Come on, Gwiz. Get it.
Oh, I'm way behind too. Oh, he just got
That's a bad takedown. Those 3 points are going to be hard to get.
That's tough. Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, but this is BS. He shouldn't have sat out the first match. Gwiz is tired. Gwiz is going to still get this spot. Come on, Gwiz. Get this man.
He's fine.
Get this man.
He's got 120.
He's got plenty of time. But
Yeah.
I was watching a flow thing before, and it made a lot of sense. Gable makes a living off reattacks. So, like, you got to pick your spots. You got to really pick your spots on this man, and you got to pick your spots twice now because he needs 2 scores. You know, so it's gonna be tough.
He's got to go in there and lock him up.
He might.
Yeah, he's got to score to a turn.
Yeah,
definitely.
he did that great last match. So let's see.
Dig deep.
Come on, Gwiz. Come on, Gwiz. Stay on him, Gwiz.
He's just gonna sit there.
Come on, Gwiz.
Yeah, oh boy.
It's not that much time's ticking, Gwiz. You need to go, brother. Gable's just gonna hold center as long as he can.
Yeah.
Gwiz, you gotta create some offense, dude. Come on. You're not even coming close to an attack here.
He's trying. The other guy should get called for passivity.
I believe so too.
Yeah, they don't really call it when you're up like that.
Look at him talking shit. I don't like Gable at all.
Say it to his face.
He got in trouble a little bit ago. He's a little scandal.
Yeah, right? Something with like some shit.
Yeah.
Wiz is gonna get this man. Look at him pointing. What a clown. Yeah,
That's
why?
all right.
You sat
That
out.
match doesn't matter. They'll wrestle tomorrow.
Doesn't matter, and you sat out the first match. You chose.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's get back to Kyle. So we'll wrap this up. I want to talk a little bit about college before we do. And something I said that was pretty interesting, I was talking to Coach Abellis about this yesterday, is Kyle's at his 3rd college, right? And sometimes you hear something like that, and it's like a red flag. Like, oh, did he get in trouble? Like, what's this? What's that? And it's not that for Kyle. It's actually quite the opposite. Kyle's kind of betting on himself in a sense where he's like, okay, and Kyle, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say what I think it is, right? So you get to Buffalo and you don't like the culture there, right? And you don't like And no knocks at the coaches or the athletes, but it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be. It wasn't your best place for you to get better. So then you transfer to Sacred Heart, which is an up-and-coming program where Coach Clark seems like he's trying really hard to bring that program up, but they weren't where you needed them to be yet to get to your level. And then you decide, okay, here's George Mason, which is also an up-and-coming program, but they got a little bit more traction maybe behind them where you're like, okay, you know, I might still be one of the more experienced guys on the team, but, you know, Coach Beasley did a lot of good stuff with NC State. There's a good proven track record there. There's a good proven culture, and you only get one chance at this, right? Eventually it's going to be done, and you're done. You got 2 or so more years left of this, and that's it. And you kind of want your best opportunity, which I find commendable because, you know, you had your friends in Buffalo. You had your friends at Sacred Heart. You had to start over twice, and now this is your third time. Maybe speak about how, you know, I'm going for this. This is where I think my best opportunity is, and I want to get my best shot at it.
Yeah, so I think at Buffalo, I was gonna just pull up my record here actually at Buffalo because I went 6-16 and 3-14 in D1 matches at Buffalo. So I was one of the worst guys on the team, and you know, I think when I was a senior in high school, when I committed to Buffalo, it was more like you know, I'm a D1, you know, I'm like the shit, you know, excuse my language.
Sure.
But I think, you know, I was still like, you know, in between, like, do I love wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's such a difference, you know, it's such a difference to be like, you know, I think my senior year I was in it, but like I was also like, you know, I liked other things. I liked to party, you know, I liked to play soccer. I liked, you know, other things, and wrestling wasn't like my first priority, you know, even though I did like it.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, going to Buffalo, it was definitely like a wake up call. I remember the first week I think my first practice, I was wrestling one of the older guys, you know, and he wasn't like great. And he was like choking me out for like 30 minutes on my back. I was like, wow, like, how am I ever going to beat like somebody like that? You know, like these guys feel like men, you know, and I'm 17 years old, you know, wrestling like 22-year-olds. So to be fair, you know, it's not, you know, it's like men wrestling boys. But yeah, I think at Buffalo, you know, I don't know. It was just not for me. Nothing against, you know, what they got going there. It was just, I was never going to get better there. I just didn't like it at the time. And then finally, when I went to Sacred Heart, I really had no option. When I was leaving Buffalo, my grades were awful. And, you know, I obviously wasn't, you know, a big name. I was, 6-4 or 6-16 or, you know, whatever. And then, you know, there wasn't like great talk around my name either with coaches just saying, you know, I was, you know, kind of a slack off, whatever.
Yeah.
So Sacred Heart was really my only option, but I think I was happy going there because it was close to home. And, you know, as I was pretty miserable at Buffalo, even though I had a good group of friends, but it's just so hard when, you know, you're not doing well and then you're not doing well in school. You know, it just equates to your whole mood, you know, overall. So I was just not happy. That was definitely the best decision I made besides, you know, Kennedy to Beacon. It was, you know, it was life-changing. You know, going to Sacred Heart, I was so much happier. I feel like once I went to Sacred Heart, it was weird. So over the summer, you know, I already transferred or committed to Sacred Heart, whatever. Over the summer, I was just training at Empire, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, I really like this sport again, because at Buffalo, I hated it, you know. I was like, you know, I don't think it's for me, you know. And at Sacred Heart, it was more like, you know, I was going to be on the team, see how I do there, you know. But then I started, you know, I was wrestling with like Jacob and Johnny and, you know, again, and I was like, damn, like this is so much fun. Like, like I wish college could be like this,
Yeah.
like me wrestling more free, me like, I was good at, when I was a senior, I was good at scrambling, and I was, they were just not too big into it at Buffalo. So I felt like, when I wrestled back, at the club with Jacob Bajani, it was finally, I was liking wrestling because I was doing what I was good at, I was wrestling my style, you know. But yeah, once I went to Sacred Heart, I mean, I did pretty well my freshman year. It was weird though, because I tore my MCL going into my freshman year. So I was out. I came back like late October, and I only started wrestling like a week before our first competition. But I won a wrestle off like 3 days after I came back.
Wow.
To a New England champ. So, yeah, I think it was weird. I felt like, I don't know how, I got a lot better quick. It was, I had some success my freshman year because I think I just, from liking it again,
Mentality.
like falling back in love with the sport, it just made me pay attention to more things, pay attention to my practices, pay attention to what works in the room, what's going to work in a match, and yeah, I think I had some success, definitely because of that my freshman year.
Yeah, and then and then we'll wrap up here with talking about George Mason. So, you end up leaving Sacred Heart, and you did get a lot better. I'm noticing this as a guy that follows you and stuff. I'm like, all right, Kyle's definitely, a formidable college wrestler. Now he can maybe make that next jump. And a little funny story, D, where I practiced the other day, and a guy that made a big jump is Matt Kelly. As a high school wrestler, made a big jump. But Matt's a great kid. I love Matt to death, and I think he could have a great college career. But he was being like silly when we're trying to show a move or whatever, and Kyle kind of gave it to him a little bit, and I kind of loved it that he did. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're a college wrestler now. You're not a high school wrestler anymore. And Kyle, but Kyle kind of admitted in this that, like, his freshman year at Buffalo, he probably was hanging around a little bit, partying maybe a little, and maybe wasn't working to his hardest. And what I really respect about Kyle is not the wrestling aspect of it, which of course I care about and I respect, but more the fact that he was able to make adjustments and improve and grow pretty quick, right? And not be scared to take chances where other people would say, okay, I'm in Sacred Heart, I'm feeling pretty comfortable, I'm close to home, let me stay here and just ride this one out, or I'm in Buffalo and I don't love the wrestling program, but I got a group of friends here, let me ride this out, whatever, again, it's betting on yourself, and it's betting on the chance that, like, hey, I might not get another opportunity. Let me get the best out of this. So what made you kind of decide to go from Sacred Heart to George Mason, and how has that been going so far?
So at Sacred Heart, so my freshman year, I went 12-11. And then after my freshman year, I was like, my coaches, I don't know if you know the name Braden Atwood at the time, but he did really well at Purdue.
Yeah.
And, Clark, Coach Clark at Sacred Heart, they had a lot of belief in me that I could be pretty good. So, I was like, let's do this thing. Like, I want to, if you tell me what to do, like, I'll do everything you tell me, I want to be the best person I could be. I want to be the best wrestler I could be. Yeah. So after my freshman year, I made a real jump. Over the summer, I wrestled U23s, and I beat a kid that was one round. He lost in the blood round at NCAA's.
Oh wow!
And I went 500, or whatever, 12-11, a couple months before that. So I was like, okay, obviously I've been training hard. I was like one of like 5 guys at Sacred Heart that was just there all summer, because we don't have like, we're not allowed to have like real practices over the summer. But I was there, training, because it was just the most ideal place for me to be. Obviously, is college to train. Yeah. But yeah, I was training, training hard. I was wrestling every day, 6-7 times a week, sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
And then, U23s, that was kind of where, I was like, okay, maybe, I could beat pretty good kids. Cause my first year, I did pin a national qualifier, my freshman year. And then, after that, beating a couple of better kids, I, kind of realized that maybe, I'm better than I think.
Did you beat
And then,
U23s?
yeah. I beat Jacob.
Yeah, I gotta rub that in Jacob a little bit. Sorry, Jacob.
But
Kyle, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I was saying to Kyle before sorry, I don't know if you were on yet, D, but it's pretty interesting to me to watch these guys. Like, it's weird. It's cool, but it's weird. Like, I could flip on like Flow Wrestling, and they're competing at this tournament. I can watch it live on my laptop, and I remember, Kyle as a 7th grader. It's just like really full circle. But go on, Kyle. I'm sorry for interrupting you there.
you're good. And no, it is. I mean, it is cool to think like where me and Jacob were, and now where we were.
I'm watching
Even competing at that level, is really cool. And going to my junior year or my redshirt sophomore year. So my second year at Sacred Heart, this is when, I had my like breakout year. I went 18-7. I beat, a couple top 33 kids. I beat a kid that was ranked like 12th or 11th at the time. I think, I knew going into that year that I was going to be pretty good, but, it's just levels. I didn't make the national tournament. Obviously got canceled. But I wasn't too confident that I was going to make the NCAA tournament, even though I was in the RPI for a couple of weeks, like going to make the tournament. I was like 29 or 30th or something. But I was just not. I don't know what it was, honestly. I knew I was beating good guys, but just levels. It's levels beating good guys consistently. I lost a couple matches I shouldn't have. And, I still feel like, I still have to prove myself, even though I had a couple good wins, but it doesn't mean anything because, what does that really mean to me at the end of the day? Me beating a couple of good kids. I haven't made the tournament yet, I still feel like I'm way better than I should be, which I'm getting there. I really think, now is, like this year, if we have a year, I'm going to really, put my name on the scene. But I still feel like I haven't reached that potential yet, I guess.
So before we wrap up, because then I'll let D say something, I'll say something, and you'll wrap it up, last words. But what exactly, so what, like after that good year, why'd you say, okay, I'm out of Sacred Heart, I'm going to George Mason now?
It was, it was a couple of different reasons. I mean, I think I just wanted to be, I wanted to be in an environment that loved, wrestling. I don't want to talk bad about anything, but
I think
I got.
Say anything. I think that Coach Clark's doing a great job at Sacred Heart.
He's doing a great job, and I mean, I got to thank him so much because I went from, being like 215 at Buffalo. I was 215 pounds, like fat, hated wrestling, and then going to Sacred Heart, beating,
good guys.
Yeah, like really good guys, and going 18-7 last year. Like, who would ever thought I would be going 18-7 at this level? I wouldn't have thought that. When I was a freshman, I was losing to guys that were, not even winning matches. I was getting killed, and I was like, how am I ever going to beat these guys? I think, I have no bad words on that, but I think it was something I needed. I needed a little more structure, and it's hard when, Sacred Heart just doesn't, the wrestling team just doesn't really get the resources because the school doesn't give it to them,
I think they're
so it's hard.
I think eventually they're going in the right direction, but like now.
Yeah, they are. It's just hard now. You know how it is. I mean, it's hard to start, especially at this level, and to be fair, it's just, hard to get everybody on board when, it's just not like, really cared about at the school,
Yeah. Well, I've heard great things about Coach Beasley. I've heard great things about what he does.
Yeah.
I think you at George Mason, if we have a season, you could be competing for All-American honors now, and I'm excited. Like we said before, like I feel like in high school you didn't get maybe the respect not that you get what you deserve, right? Because like you said, your junior year you came in 5th in the section, so it wasn't, what were we supposed to do? What were the people supposed to do, right? But you knew you were better than that. You went and did your senior year. You probably could have took it even up another notch, but you showed you were there. I think it's going to be a similar thing with college. I think you're going to make a big jump this year. Watching you train, even like during these Thanksgiving practices, I know you jump levels just by how you were talking about technique and how we're rolling. I sparred with Kyle a little bit. I don't want to wrestle live with this man. He'll beat me up. But just his IQ has stepped up, like his wrestling IQ. It's just like this guy he's good. Like Kyle's ready to go. So we're really excited. But Coach, wrap up your thoughts on Kyle. Then I'll go in, and Kyle, you have the last words to wrap this sucker up. So go ahead,
Sounds
Dave.
good.
I remember Kyle when he's a 7th and 8th grader, and all that stuff, and coming up through. But the thing that stands out to me is your dad and your relationship with your dad, and it always warms my heart when I see a kid like Kyle come through the ranks and win a section title. And I always look to the father, like when Brendan Rodgers' son won. It was amazing, like how he reacted. And your father's been around the game for a long time, gave a lot to the sport, was always very kind to me when I came into the coaching with the youth. So I have a lot of respect for you, your dad, and the Beacon program. And good luck. We're going to be watching you win titles, baby.
Thank you.
So, pretty much echoing what Coach said, except for maybe some of it. I like your dad, so he's cool. But if people know me, they get the jab I just threw there. So anyhow,
I didn't get it.
There's one coach on that staff that we almost went to fisticuffs before.
Oh yeah.
If people are watching this and they see this vein in this arm, this is all natural. This has always been all natural. So if you're nervous,
yeah, I would support you. I would support you on the, if you had a battle with him, definitely.
But just so like how go on with his night here and not be on this weird podcast with us two old guys. Very proud of you, Kyle. I love that you were able to you still saw your goal at the end of the tunnel, no matter what was going on. And I appreciate that. I tell the kids all the time that, and this is for you now too. I mean, I know I think you're already thinking like this, but eventually it ends, right? And we might as well, the sport's done a lot for me. I'm sure it's done a lot for you, Kyle. It's done a lot for Coach DeBellis. And we should get as much out of it as we can while we can. And I think I miss it dearly as a coach. Like, I love competing. I love the idea of it. I love wrestling. It's fun. I enjoy it. So I think you should keep doing what you're doing. Keep betting on yourself. Keep putting yourself in positions to get better. Keep surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you get better. Have that right mentality. Mentor those young guys, like a guy like Matt Kelly. Like, you telling him that is going to reinsure in your head that I'm doing the right stuff, right? Like, this is how we need to live now. I'm living like this. This is my lifestyle, and this is how I'm doing it. So I'm really excited to see how this season goes for you. Hopefully there is a season, but next season as well. I think you being at George Mason was a great decision. Like Coach Bell said, tell your dad I said hi. He's the man. We appreciate having you on, Kyle. So, but you can wrap it up, bud. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to recap on that, I think, I look back at like high school and stuff. Obviously, I wish I did way better because, the way I am now, I think, I'm a lot better than a lot of kids that did way better than me in high school. I beat a lot of kids that won state titles, and I didn't win a state title because I feel like, I didn't really come into my own. I didn't really trust, like John and, Tora and, obviously, any high school coach, Coach Bellis, they want the best for you, and they're gonna, put you in that right path. And, I think in high school I was a little stubborn, like a lot of high school kids. They think, they're cool, they're the shit, whatever. they, sometimes they look past to what John's actually saying, and, or, of course, what you're actually saying. And it's so important to, just take in everything you guys are, giving us, because you've coached so many good kids and you've been at that level. Both you guys have wrestled at, that level too. So you understand, what it takes to, be successful at this level. And obviously, the club is getting more, branched out because of guys like Camacho and Youssef. And, I think kids need to realize that, why can't you be a Jacob Camacho? Why can't you be a Youssef, Hameda? If you really, I wish I did it, because I think I would have been a lot better sooner. I feel like I didn't really come into my own until I'm 21 years old. I think just really trusting your coaches, and I think the older brother relationship too. Not like older brother, but like like bigger guys. I think it's so important. When guys are seniors or juniors, talking to like freshmen and stuff. Like I've seen it at so many colleges. I think my, I got so much better because, that relationship with an older guy, like a guy like Brett Perry, because I seen him, he was so successful, and I looked up to him, and I was like, how am I going to better myself? How am I going to be like that? And I think that's a, good thing wrestling does. A lot of guys look up to older guys, like they look up to Youssef or Jacob. They just got to realize, why can't I be like that? Like Ryan Jack, like, why can't I be like Jacob? And of course he's had so much success because he thinks like that. He thinks I could be, as good as Jacob or better, but yeah.
I think that's good words for the future. Kyle, I appreciate you coming on, my man. We're very excited to see how the season goes. Hopefully it happens. But I thought
either way, I'll have 2 years, so I'm good to go.
We'll get to see some more Kyle Davis on the mat.
Yeah.
But I think it was cool that we got to do 2 live matches on the interview, first time. So we're 46 or 45 deep, Kyle. So you got to be the first guy to live stream a match and commentate a little bit. So I thought that was pretty interesting wrinkle into our game now. But really appreciate you coming on, Kyle. Hang on for 1 second. I'm going to stop recording, but hang on for a second.
Yeah.